Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I wanted to do a video on which brand I would start buying first, Hermès or Chanel, if I could go back. So stay tuned and I'll tell you which brand and why. I've heard various opinions on this topic. Some people wish they had started buying Chanel earlier because of the prices today, whereas other people wish they had started buying Hermès earlier because there was a time in the US where most boutiques had waiting lists. So as long as you were patient and you had the money, you could get the Birkin or Kelly of your dreams without spending money on incidentals that you may not want. So the wait list could have been 6 months or 3 years, but that system seemed equitable. Of course, there were always ways around the wait list, whereas the consensus now seems to be that you do need to spend a considerable amount of money in order to be offered one of these bags. I know that this is specific to certain regions in the world. There are some places that still have wait lists, so I'm making broad generalizations here. I thought that I would weigh in with my thoughts. A pretty big disclaimer is that I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who has been able to get these bags at my local boutique without spending unnecessary money. If you want to know more, I'll link a video where I talk more about that. But I think it's important to say, because if I did need to spend a considerable amount of money in order to be offered a bag, or my only option was to pay a huge premium on the resale market, then I may have a very different opinion on this topic, but I can only speak from my particular set of circumstances. So can you guess which brand I chose? So if I could go back, I would still choose to buy Chanel first, and here's why. In discussing this topic, I'm going to use two bags that I think of as quintessentially representative of the brands: the Chanel Classic Flap in the medium size and the Birkin 30. And I'm using these particular bags because if I were to start my collection over again, these are still the exact combinations that I would choose. Which leads me to my first reason that I'm glad that I started with Chanel before Hermès, and that is, if I had bought an Hermès bag back in 2011, I did not know nearly enough about the brand, the leathers, or the sizes to make a decision that I would not have ended up regretting. And I know a lot of people on YouTube buy and sell. I'm not one of those people, so when I make a mistake with a bag, I end up living with it for years and selling at a huge loss. So it's really important for me to really consider what I'm buying. And I definitely would have chosen the size 35 back then in Togo leather, and that would have been so heavy. And the only reason that I would have chosen that bag was because it was popular in the media. I rarely saw people carrying the 30, and I didn't even know that the 25 existed back then. So I would have chosen a size that was too big in a very heavy leather, and I would have regretted that decision. It would have sat in my closet for years. I would probably just now be getting up the gumption to sell it, and 35s are not so popular anymore. So best case scenario is that I would break even, but more likely I would have taken a loss, or it would just be sitting in my closet being unused right now. Whereas this classic medium that I bought back in 2011 would be the exact bag that I would choose to buy today. So this ended up being a pretty great investment in my wardrobe. So the second reason that I'm glad that I started with Chanel first is the pricing. So if you look at the pricing of Chanel bags starting in 2011, when I bought my first Chanel bag, to now, there has been a $2,600 increase for the medium large size, which works out to be a 67% increase over the last 9 years. Whereas had I had the wherewithal to even buy a Birkin 30 in 2011, the difference is $2,250, but given the starting price of the bag, that's only been a 26% increase over the course of 9 years. As you can see, the percentage that Chanel has increased the classic flap in medium over the course of the last 9 years is more than double the percentage that Hermès has increased the Birkin 30 over that same period. And what makes it even worse leads to my third reason that I'm glad that I started with Chanel before Hermès, and that is that discounts used to be available through department stores for Chanel. There are very few department stores that still do this. Those discounts were why I was able to buy my 3 Chanel classic flaps so close together from Saks Fifth Avenue. If you don't know that department store, it's kind of like Harrods in the UK. The unique thing about Saks is that it used to be that you got 10 to 15% off your first purchase when you opened a Saks credit card, and then after that you're able to earn points that you can use on anything in the store. And so I used most of my rewards to buy these Chanel bags. So specifically for this medium large bag, I used $1,200 worth of rewards points, which brought the bag down to about $2,800. So when you factor in that was my real cost of this bag, you'll see that for me, there was 132% difference between the price in 2011 and the price now. So Saks still allows you to use rewards points, but they've taken away the initial discount, and they've also taken away earning double, triple bonus points on Chanel. All of that is currently gone. So had I started buying Chanel much later, not only would the retail price be thousands more, but I would not be able to save on Chanel bags the way that I was able to 9 years ago. And the reason for this is that Chanel wanted to eliminate their bags being discounted in any way. There used to be a Chanel outlet store in Woodbury Commons in the US. They eliminated that, and at their semi-annual sales, some lucky people used to be able to get bags at a discount, and that has gone away. And they've also taken back control of merchandise being sold at department stores. So now when you see Chanel in Saks or Neiman Marcus or Bloomingdale's, those are now leased departments, meaning they're just leasing the space, whereas before those big department stores could buy Chanel products and do with them as they please, the way that they do with Givenchy or Prada or Saint Laurent. Chanel has put a full stop to that. There are a few stores that they haven't gotten to yet, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before those change over as well. So reason number 3 is that I got huge discounts on buying Chanel brand new 9 years ago that I just couldn't get now. And the final reason that I'm so glad that I started buying Chanel rather than Hermès is the quality. And I'll admit to you that because I haven't bought a Chanel bag in almost 7 years, I'm not sure I really bought into when I heard people talking about the quality issues. I kind of just thought people were being picky. How much could the quality really have changed over the last decade? But I experienced this for myself recently. I wanted to find a replacement for one of my classic flaps that was showing a little bit of damage and wear, and I could not find a suitable replacement that did not have some sort of defect. I could not believe the difference in the leather quality and just the overall feel of the bag. My experience trying to buy a new bag from Chanel and how disappointing that experience was can be a video in and of itself. Let me know if you want to hear about that, but it really turned me off. Whereas I look at my older bags, they're not vintage, so I can't speak to vintage quality, but the bags that I have are beautifully made and have held up fairly well. So I was not prepared for the difference in quality. I'm not saying that I'll never buy another Chanel bag, but the level of inspection that needs to take place now, I feel is notably different than what I had to do 9 years ago when I bought a new Chanel bag. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think about my rationale, And if you are a lover of both Chanel and Hermès, or if you own both brands, if you could go back, which one would you prioritize? And if you're a person that's just starting your luxury collection and you eventually plan to add bags from both brands, which one are you thinking of adding first? So that's it for my video, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.